if we are truly going to be like Christ, if we truly are accepting this life in Christ, then we have to love and care for one another just as he cares for us. You know, I was thinking about how we might encounter individuals. Some of them are in the body, some of them are in the kingdom, and we don't extend the grace, the patience, the forbearance, the love, and the grace, right, that God has extended or shown to us through Christ, because we forget that everybody is in a different level or a different place in their journey, if you will. You know, so if we encounter one of our brethren, maybe they're not kind, maybe they're not loving, maybe they're not receptive to a hug, or maybe they are struggling with pride, or maybe they are unreasonable, maybe they are contentious, right? All of these different things that we developed as we were in the world, we have to know that all of us weren't always kind. All of us weren't always patient. All of us weren't able to just overlook the offense, right? Because we lived by eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, until we had to learn the way of Christ. So what I'm trying to say is that we have to all exercise self-control, grace, patience, and love, just as God has shown unto us, right? Now, when we encounter people in the world, we would expect that they would act like that, right? Because they have not encountered Christ. You know, sometimes, you know, we are very judgmental and very critical to those that don't have a relationship with Christ. They are behaving in a way that one would behave if they don't know Christ. Think about how we acted when we didn't know Christ. So this brings me to Ephesians 4:32, right? This book of Ephesians, Paul has written to the church in Ephesus. There's a lot of new Jewish and Gentile converts. Now, they all come from different backgrounds. The Jews are not receptive to the Gentiles because they don't practice Jewish law. The Gentiles are receiving a lot of backlash because they have decided to denounce paganistic practices. So there's a lot of confusion on top of confusion, right? But Paul is writing to them, first teaching them who they are, their new spiritual identity in Christ, and how they ought to live now day to day, showing love to one another, being patient, growing up into maturity, into this full man in Christ, right? We all are to mature and grow. So he's teaching them how to forbear with one another, to love one another, to be patient, kind, and compassionate. So in Ephesians 4:32, the word tells us to be compassionate to one another, tenderhearted, right? Forgive one another, just as God in Christ has forgiven you. So present day, we got to be patient with one another, right? Give each other that grace, that room to grow, just as God has done unto us.